Kit Vincent. I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, formerly from Elizabethtown, Ontario, on the St. Lawrence, beautiful St. Lawrence River. But we moved back to Ottawa, Ontario. So I came prepared to talk about mastery, sustaining momentum. So I figured that's what our great master was looking for. And I decided to write down a little text because being a blabber, this is going to ensure that I stay within my 3 to 8 minutes. So I thought I would start with something that would be easy. I decided to look up the word mastery. It's not that I don't know what mastery means. It's just that I've really never had it applied to any of the work that I've done. So I went to Merriam-Webster, and the dictionary describes mastery as the knowledge and skill that allows one to do, use, or understand something very well. So I thought, well, there's nothing wrong with that. That sounds reasonable. But then Merriam-Webster lists all these mastery synonyms: domination, command, supremacy, preeminence, superiority, control, authority. So I was looking at those synonyms, and it occurred to me that my experience has been more like the flip side of that. This work has done this to me. The work that I do has imposed on me, sort of like the tail that wags the dog. Sustaining momentum under this type of imposing umbrella has had two phases the last 16 years, because I came into this not knowing anything about, very little about sewing. I saw an image in a magazine, and I looked up Nancy Crow, and I pulled out an old sewing machine out of a cupboard, taught myself how to sew, came to the barn, and I've been at it ever since. But the first 8 years were 8 years of discovery. And what was important for me during this discovery phase was to learn by accumulating as much as I possibly could. I had to experience all the technology. I had to acquire and use all manner of machinery. I still do. It's a guilty pleasure. I had to acquire the best and most exotic fabrics. I needed a large studio space in order to carry out all this activity. I needed room to store this inventory of all the products that I made. I needed to travel to learn from the best. I needed to teach, because for me, teaching is learning. If you want to know whether you know something, try teaching it. I had in my studio wool in one corner, I had silk roving in a second, I had art cloth in a third, and I had pieced quilts in a fourth. I was quick to cast aside ideas and half-finished work and move on to the next discovery that was out there. So amidst all this clutter, phase 2 surfaced. Phase 2 excited the explorer in me. It's what I call exploration. I became enamored with the idea that what appears to be fragmented, torn, useless bits could be transformed into a meaningful gesture. So there was so much to unlearn. That was the following 8 years. So the unlearning required that I reduce the size of my studio, retrieve what was essential, and purge about 70% of my accumulations. I had finally learned to recognize how discarded fabrics or fragments have the potential to lead to something that is much more than the sum of its parts. And that's where I am now.